Laura, we should. Who are you up to? Anything good?
Well, I'm the lobbyist again, since Jack retired for legislature, so watch out. You're the biggest cities in town.
What do you do?
I'll call to order this meeting of the Prescott AMA Groundwater Use Advisory Council. Today's date is September 24th, 2019, and the time is 10:16. We are meeting at Prescott Valley Civic Center, 7501 East Food Boulevard in Prescott Valley. I am Jim Holt, and I would like the members of the Groundwater Users Advisory Council to introduce themselves, starting here.
Chris Marley, former mayor of Chico. Larry Tarkowski, town of Prescott Valley.
Record, former city council member of the city of Prescott.
Excellent, thank you. Do we have a quorum?
We don't have.
Okay, and would the staff members from the Department of Water Resources introduce themselves, starting here?
Kennedy Shepard, GUAC coordinator.
Administrative assistant for the Department of Water Resources. Melissa WMAP coordinator.
Thank you very much. Excellent. Well, thank you all for being here. I would like to start with agenda item number 2, the area director report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Member of the council. So I did provide a little graph for you because in the past several meetings we had a lot of movement in the academic section. We were really happy to have great skills and talents, so we had a lot of promotion, and we also hired a few great new talent. So in fact, as you probably noticed, no longer received response from me. He moved on to other opportunities outside of AWR. We are really happy to have Kennedy Shepard, who will take on the GUAC coordination, as she mentioned before. So we're excited to have our team, and you will be receiving correspondence from her in the near future. We also have Melissa Sachs, she introduced herself. She will be in charge on the activities of the Water Management System Program, including the $2 million conservation grants that we mentioned last meeting, and we will discuss in a little bit here today. So we're really excited and happy to have Melissa join us today. And also thank you, Teresa, for having us with this meeting. And finally, we have Zach Richards, who coordinated the Drought Conservation Program, and he moved on to another section within AWR to facilitate some of the activities of the Governor's Water Augmentation and Conservation Council. So we are currently in the midst of having to fill in his position and other 2 vacancies that we have. So just so you can connect the names with the positions, we did put that graph for you. Refer to if you wish. So I can either take questions or move on to number 2B.
When was the last time you had 16 staff members?
It's been a long while. We have grown. We're super excited that we get a lot of support from the administration and from our industry. We have grown a lot, which is exciting. We can get to activities that we haven't in many years. I don't think since the reduction in voice that we had around 2009 and 10, we haven't had many staff members. That being said, when we had 5 offices,
Yeah.
and now we're probably longer, but just as we name Phoenix office, we were really fortunate to be able to have as good of a number and quality staff.
Yeah, excellent. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's very good. Are there any questions regarding the staffing update? We'll move on to your next item then.
Excellent. So Kennedy's going to pull up the beginning of a presentation, 3 slides really, for the management plan activities updates. Starting with the forest management plan. So the estimated adoption of the remaining forest management plan is started to be completed in about 2 years. This started with the presentation of the draft Phoenix forest management plan to the Phoenix GUAC in July. members' recommendation for some changes to the conservation programs. Now AMA will be next with an updated draft estimated to be available in the spring of 2020. And then Santa Cruz will be the last with the updated draft estimated to be available sometime in the summer of 2020. We are working with many stakeholders at the moment to respond to their comments and to incorporate some refinement into the draft and into those specific recommendations that we have in the draft. We intend to start the adoption process of the draft sometime in January, and we are really open for refinement, so we're working with comments. We will make the updated draft once, and we're calling for any stakeholders who are interested to provide their information. We did have some technical comments that we incorporated, so we're in the process of the contour of the regulatory portion of the other two draft forest management plans, Okinawa and Santa Cruz, will largely mirror those strategies put forward in the Phoenix forest management plan, but again, taking local stakeholders' comments and edits as we start working on these drafts.
Did ours about 2 years ago?
Moving on to slide number 2.
So you're not going to be able to cut and paste the adoption that we did in the Prescott AMA, which was adopted a couple of years ago, and Phoenix and Tucson are still way behind us, is what you're saying.
There is, it would have been much easier for us if we could everything, but obviously each AMA has its own specific characteristics and needs, and we need to adjust.
So there are many fingerprints that need to be on the process, right?
Correct.
Prescott AMA is special.
You are special.
No, they don't.
But while we're working on completing the remaining forest management plan, we're concurrently working on stakeholder outreach and development of the fifth management plans. Everyone that is listed under the Groundwater Advisory Council email distribution should be receiving those notifications on different meetings that we have. So please, if you do not, please make sure that you mark in the shade the last column and it's asked to be added to the correspondence. We're just trying to plug that in. Moving on to slide number 3. So what are some of the activities that took place in relation to the fifth management plan preparation? So far we held 2 management plan working group meetings and 1 meeting of each of the subgroups, the agricultural, the municipal, the industrial, and the safe fuel technical meeting, which actually was held yesterday. All have been well attended and are shaping up to include very interesting discussions. Again, this was just the first meeting, so it was mainly just to put some of the structure in place, and we are intending to have these ongoing meetings as time comes. They're all available via webinar, so I hope that at least some of you were able to attend the webinar. I know that some of you have attended in person, at least for the municipal suburbs, so thank you for that. And the first step of these groups is really to analyze existing conservation programs in each of the sectors to better understand whether they have been effective and how we might adjust them as we move on to the fifth management plan. So these discussions will come in the near future. Again, feedback can always be submitted at any time to the management plan at azwater.gov. If you were able to listen in, or if you have any questions or concerns after the meeting, please feel free to reach out to us again. Management plans at azwater.gov. By the way, all of the information about meetings and dates are also available on our website. This is under review.azwater.gov/5MP, and that would provide all the different dates as we have them. And also just to put it on your calendar, you will still receive notifications for our release, but the next management plan work group is scheduled for December 4th at 2 p.m. If that's my, the update for the management plan, I'm happy to take it.
Do you have an end date that you're shooting for with the adoption of the fifth management plan?
We hope to have this whole process, at least writing the draft in the next 2 years or so. If we could have the adoption, and again, it's in question mark because we haven't exactly have that set in stone, but if we could have the whole process of adopting all the 5 management plans at 2025, that would be great. These are rigorous timelines, so we hope, that's what we're hoping for, but don't quote me on that.
We're going to hold you to that. I mean, so you're hoping to get it before the safe yield management goal is actually kicking in 2025.
Correct, so
Okay,
the end of the timeframe for the fifth management plan,
right.
which is 2025. So yeah, we would really want to have it done.
Probably doable in the Prescott AMA, but those other laggards that you have, they're going to have to kick them a little bit.
Yeah, well, you know, it is a lot of our engagements, as you mentioned, there's different characteristics for all mentioned.
Certainly.
Each one would have to be, it may be relatively similar to the framework, but each one would have its own adjustments, and discussions that have to take place with local stakeholders. So we hope that it's doable, but we probably will get more as we start meeting, and getting more information from the different sectors and subgroups.
Are there any particular goals that the department would like to see as outcomes for the fifth management plan?
So in statute, we have to have, I don't know if it's in the, it's probably not in the slides, but in statute, the management plans need to increase the, or reduce the withdrawal fee of groundwater. So this is what we expected to do or required to do in statute. Currently, for the fifth management plan, everything is on the table. We are, this is why we have these discussions with stakeholders. We first want to evaluate how the conservation programs have been performing so far, if there are any other conservation programs that could be put forward to improve on, again, reducing the withdrawal fee of groundwater. If we can take the conservation programs that we currently have and maybe make them a little more rigorous. So we're really, at that point, we have everything at the table. We're looking to get stakeholder involvement and input. Again, if anyone has any thoughts, we really do encourage everyone to attend these meetings. Obviously, we've been in this field for a long time, represents the Prescott. We would want to hear your thoughts, your comments. If you could participate in any of the subgroups, we would really appreciate.
Well, certainly that's important for us to accomplish, but also very important is to make sure that it is abundantly clear that despite the goal of wanting to reduce the reliance on groundwater, the Prescott AMA has no other option. Okay, and so that needs to be clearly stated with your internal meetings. Okay, we have one and only one source of a large source of water. Very little surface water is available to us, and certainly we don't have a Central Arizona project, which makes weaning the use of groundwater relatively easy compared to what we have. And so even with the importation of the Big Chino water, once again, that is groundwater, nevertheless. It's important to make sure that language is used or at least clarified, because as you point out, each one of the AMAs have different approaches to things. And ours is certainly unique.
Thank you for that.
Which is historically true. It's never been different. Right? Well, everybody should know that.
Okay, do we have any other questions or comments regarding the management plan activities? Move to the Governor's Water Augmentation Innovation Conservation Council update. That is a mouthful.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, this is just a really brief to to mention some of the next activities of the Governor Water Council in short. As you may recall, in our previous meeting, we discussed that this is executive order that established the Governor Water Council. And also, I mentioned that the council formed 2 new committees. One focuses on groundwater management outside of the active management area, and the second, which is more relevant to all of us here, focuses on the active management areas post 2025. This committee is tasked specifically with evaluating the outcomes of the first 45 years under the groundwater management code and identify potential strategies for sound water management after 2025. The Governor's Water Council member, Tim Moore, who is also Tucson GIC member, will be co-chairing the committee. He's another council member and Arizona Municipal Water User Association Director for 10. The first meeting of this committee is scheduled for October 10th at 2 p.m. Again, you should have received an email from me about this meeting. If you are in the GOC distribution list, they are calling for anyone who's interested and has the time to put into this committee to request to become members of the committee. So if there is any desire, please do reach out to, you feel free to reach out to me and I'll direct you with the coordinator of this committee. So both the committee meetings, regardless of being members or not, and of the Governor's Water Council are always open to the public. They also offered via webinar. So again, we do encourage everyone who's interested in listening in. We really again want your comments, your information, your thoughts. So please do attend those either via webinar or in person.
Could we go ahead and support the membership on that committee? Because apparently it's not a gubernatorial appointment. It is a committee that is appointed by staff.
By the co-chairs of the committee, which are Mr. Timur and Mr. Tenney. So yeah, definitely. Do you have anyone in mind? Or
Jim Holt, I think it would be really important for this GUAC to go ahead and have representation on that.
Second.
And would you want to be on it as well? Okay, well, if Jim has the time available, do we have any idea how long this committee will be in place? A couple of years or?
I don't know that there is currently a time frame. This is the first meeting that we have, so it's possible that there'll be more discussion, but I believe that they'll meet until they feel that they discuss whatever was needed to discuss. I would suspect that evaluating how the conservation programs have fared and what other potential strategies for water management in the future. I would suspect it's not going to be a short.
I think that's perfect for you, Joe.
Well, I think he'll do a really good job. Wait a minute, you're talking about me?
I think you do just a marvelous job. And with this being 2025 safe yield and beyond, there's the opportunity for additional management plans going forward at 5-year intervals or whatever is a possibility. And all kinds of neat things. And besides, our interests certainly need to be protected from the co-chair who is an AMWA. Is he staff for AMWA?
He's the executive director, Mr. Warren.
Well, absolutely, then we need to have some representation because as you know, NAMWA and AMWA don't always see eye to eye.
So if there's a way that you can make that recommendation for us, I agree with Larry that it would be important for us to be recognized in a formal role as opposed to just a participant who phones in every once in a while on some of the other committees. So yes, if you could carry that recommendation forward, we appreciate it.
If you wouldn't mind putting this in email so I can actually make sure that it's known that you voiced interest and then we'll direct it to the co-chairs.
Okay.
And I'll definitely voice. Do you want to a motion, I heard.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Excellent, thank you for that.
And then as an alternate, Bob Recker, I know
No.
very, you're alternate in the event you actually had to work for a living. then.
There we go. I will get together with you then, or your staff, and we'll fashion that email.
Perfect.
Right, format.
Excellent.
Good, good. Thank you, Larry. Thank you for your support. I appreciate it.
You might want to rethink that.
There are questions or comments regarding the governor's council? So we'll move on then to a discussion about withdrawal fee and water management assistance program.
Excellent, thank you, Mr. Chair. So Kenneth is going to pull out this graph, but you, jurisdiction members, you should have this document, let's call it. And this will guide us as we talk a little more about the $2 million conservation grant update. Before we get to that, I just want to remind us in the previous meeting that the legislators appropriated $2 million in additional funds for grants to support water conservation projects in the active management areas. The $2 million will be utilized within the water management assistance program, or as some of us know, it also called the Obligation Conservation Fund, and divided among the 5 AMAs on a per capita basis, with a minimum amount of $150,000 for AMAs with smaller population. So Prescott, in addition to Pinal and Santa Cruz, will receive $150,000. So AMA will receive $305,000, and Phoenix AMA, again the most populated AMA, will receive $1,245,000.
I'm sorry, how much was Tucson?
Tucson was $305,000,
Thank you.
and Phoenix was $1,240,000. We're currently working on a timeline for this process, including all the dates for the different steps that we'll have to take as it comes to grants. We hope to advertise the notice of funding opportunity later this fall or early winter and start the review process sometime early next year. Another just warning for everyone, mainly those in the public, that we will email the notice to all of our email distribution links. So if you are interested in receiving notices or having someone else that you think may be interested in receiving notices, please either sign in or ask someone to sign into the GOAC email distribution list. And again, they will make sure that they receive these notice of funding opportunities. Regardless, it will be available on our website, and we'll polish it as much as we can, so there'll be other evidence to receive. We want to make sure that we hear about it in one way or another. So we really don't know. We have no estimate of how many proposals we will receive. But regardless, we do anticipate that the review process will be relatively lengthy. That will include proposal review, presentations, discussion, and decision-making regarding the selected projects. For that, we prepared this document that breaks down how you would like to participate in the evaluation process of those projects. So again, it's a part of the water management system program, and it could go exactly as we usually do for water management system program, depending, of course, on how many projects we'll get. It may require a lot of work in your end, it may require less work. So this is what we propose. Moving from option, or starting with option number 1, high GOC participation. And if you don't know, I'm going to go through the steps. Most of the steps are relatively similar for the 3 options, and I'll point out where they're different. So starting from option number 1, first we need to, of course, make sure that we write the notice of funding opportunity. We'll post it in different that I mentioned through emails also and on our webpage. And then we hope to have a pre-application conference for anyone who may be interested. So we'll go through what we ask for, what they may require us to make, and then we'll have a closing date. We're thinking to keep the notice open for about 2 to 3 months to give people the opportunity to hear about it and to apply to fund their projects and programs, again, that support water conservation in the AMA. I do also want to mention something. So the water management system program is supporting 3 different type of projects and programs: the conservation, augmentation, and research and availability of water supply. This grant specifically is only focused on water conservation. So just wanted to clarify this. So moving on to the evaluation period, first we'll have to make sure that we do an initial screening that will be done with AWR staff. Lisa, she will be the one to do that. And make sure that the application, that all the applications really meet the grant specified criteria, which again is to conserve water within the AMAs. And then we move on to what may be favored from the options. It could go whenever projects and application we receive for Prescott AMA will move directly to the GOC for presentation. So we would ask any applicant that would like to receive grant money to come to present to GOCs. Obviously, it would require evaluating and reviewing the proposals, and then 10 to 15-minute presentation by each applicant. GOC members will discuss the applications and will recommend to the director on the projects and programs that you would like to move forward with. And of course, then the director will select the projects and programs, will announce them, and will work on the contracts with each of those entities. This is option 1 with high GOC participation. Option 2 is medium GOC participation, and really the only change here would be that after there's going to be initial screening, and this is the section, the middle section here. After there's going to be initial screening to make sure that all applications are up to par, or making sure that only the applications that are addressing all the requirements will move forward. There could be an AWR grant evaluation committee that will maybe list or score the top X number of projects. That would be something that you should decide on, how many projects or applications you would like to review. And then this number would move on to the GOC evaluation. And then you would review those specific applications, hear the presentations from the applicants, and make decisions with those. Moving on to lower non-GOC participation. I'll just put it out there, especially because the amount, the funding amount is not really large. We personally wouldn't necessarily recommend it, however, we just want to put it out there as an option, because we know that you're all really busy. So just as an option for you to consider, that you could be not having a GOC evaluation, and just the projects that have been determined to move forward could come and present to you. So these are the 3 options that we would like to present to you. And of course, all the details, we're still working on a lot of the details of the grants and the notifications and the funding requirements exactly. But because we don't know how many applications we'll receive, this is as much as we have at that point, and we would like to hear your thoughts on what options seems better for you.
I'd like to go back to the decision that was made that stated this can only be for conservation. And how was that decision made as opposed to augmentation?
What is specified in the legislation specifically. So it specifically states that $2 million will be granted for conservation.
Conservation
The
only.
active management. Yeah, so it's very specific as to the conservation part of it.
Chairman,
Yes.
2 quick questions. Number 1, are all the GUACs across the state gonna have to comply with 1, 2, or 3, or is it gonna be onesies?
Each AMA with whatever decision you want to make, that will be only for Prescott AMA.
Okay. Question number 2, what level of expertise is required in option number 2 on that ADWR grant evaluation committee to review, minimum of 3 reviewers? How much, what level of
Yeah, that
Yes,
specificity.
that will be needed to narrow it down. I mean, are we, the people on this board, do we have the expertise to do that?
Well, I would just say that you know the names of the AMA. So you know what projects you may want to support and what are the names who represent stakeholders. So you may want to reach out and see what is the need out there. So I would say yes. And it's not a water management system program, so whenever somebody applies for a program, you have an idea of what you think will be successful.
Sure. Okay.
So I would say definitely. For the AWR review, it's likely going to be Melissa who will want to accept the applications that she's working on this will find out opportunity as we speak. It probably will be myself and Ryan Judge, who is the AMA Deputy Director. So we all very much knowledgeable of the water management system program projects and programs. So that would likely be, again, we haven't, it's not set in stone, but if it's not going to be us, it's going to be another person who's very much knowledgeable of the AMAs and the water management system.
Do you have any questions?
No, already in the decision.
I have a question. On option number 2, ADWR does a grant evaluation process for the committee that they appoint. Let's say in the Prescott AMA there were 5 grant applications. If we were in the medium GUAC participation category, option number 2, ADWR reviews them and brings forward 3 of those applications, for example. Is there a way for the GUAC to bring another one of those forward if we believe that we did want to hear more about a particular option?
Of course.
Okay.
And what I could say, let's say, we can keep it relatively fluid, so and it's not, your decision is not set in stone. So let's say, again, we tried to estimate, but it's really hard to know how many applications we get. So just throwing an exaggerating here, let's say we receive 30 applications, that's gonna be a lot. I don't think we'll receive 30, but I'm just throwing it out there. Or we may receive 5. So you may want to say, we want to review the maximum of 10 projects or 7 or 5. And that would guide us through deciding if we want option 1 or option 2. So let's say we get 12 and you only would have the time and capacity to review 10 of them, we can narrow down the 2 that we think are the least.
So then based on our input, then would determine how that evaluation
Correct.
is conducted.
Correct.
So, I'm sorry,
No, go.
You want?
confused now a little bit. If we took option number 1, would we be reviewing, let's say, 30?
If
Possible.
we receive 30, it's possible.
Yeah, okay, or whatever number is, this board would be reviewing all of the applications. There'd be no willowing down
Correct.
by your.
Correct.
Okay.
We could potentially, if that's what we wish to do, we could potentially say, we will go with option 2 if we receive more than 10 applications, for example. So you may want to say, again, I'm just throwing numbers out there, we want to review 10 applications. If you receive more than that, we would like to do that merging another time. If you receive less than that, we would like to review all of them. So that's an option as well. Again, it all depends how many applications we'll receive. And I would take the time and kind of request, if you do think that there is a specific programs or projects that you think will be valuable, I would encourage you to reach out to me. But that could be an option for you to decide on a number.
One more question. How specific are the criteria, or is the criteria?
So we're currently working on the specific criteria of what is water conservation. Literally in statute, we were directed for water conservation grants, but we need to decide how specific it is, what exactly does that mean, including efficiency, including infrastructure. So we are working on all the details and everything that need to be set. So for example, one question that we have, should we set a minimum?
Mhm.
Do we want every $1,000 application to come forward? Maybe we don't. Maybe we want to have a certain amount, maybe from $5,000 and up, so we don't have hundreds and hundreds.
And all that will be established before the process begins, though, right?
Correct, yes.
Obviously.
And we're
Okay.
currently, we're going to schedule a meeting with the director to get a little more direction as to what we think is what we have capacity administratively to deal with, and then maybe narrow down some of the water conservation projects and programs.
Okay.
If there are any thoughts specifically for the Prescott area, and we see that specific programs or projects related to conservation should be included, I'll be more than happy to get your thoughts to the director. But it's, again, we get a very wide water conservation direction, and we need to figure out what that means.
And we're looking at $150,000 from the state. I would recommend 50,000 minimum with an impacted audience of no less than 1,000.
So 50,000 minimum?
Or 50,000, no, 50,000 minimum grant application. Okay, and that the impact would be measured at no less than 1,000 targeted units, people or users. Because otherwise, you're going to have.
Are you speaking English?
Yeah.
What was that?
Okay, 50,000 minimum grant application. So we would end up awarding 3 at the most. Okay, so.
Okay, go to
And essentially, if you end up with a bunch of small applications, 2,000, 5,000, whatever, you're gonna spend more time administering the grant application, make sure they hit all the guidelines. Let's make sure that we are looking at grant applicants that have the wherewithal to pull off what they're proposing.
I have a question. Is that the level of specificity that you're asking from us now? This kind of a proposal?
Yeah, I'll be happy to get any thoughts you have on this, yes.
I think before we go there, though, we gotta probably answer this question first.
Which one do you want? 2?
Well, clearly option number 3 is not gonna work for us. The question, I think, then becomes between option 1 and option 2 is the value of the department's evaluation and recommendation. And I think that that is significant. I would not want to choose perhaps option 1, which excludes the department from providing input in any ranking or whatever other evaluation might be there. So I think my recommendation would be option number 2, so I'd like to.
So moved as stated. I second it.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Then one.
You want one?
I want one. The reason I would say 1 is because they may be eliminating something that we may think is of a high value to our group, that would be specific to our group.
Yeah.
I don't mind the 50,000 thing, but that would have some value that we wouldn't even be aware of, perhaps, if we take option 2. Although I understand why option 2 is not a bad way to go, and I think I just lost the vote, but that would be my negative.
Well, to continue discussing this, I think what the question I had for the AMA director was, if the department were, if we were to be operating under option number 2, and we had a proposal that the department believed should fall to the bottom of the list and not be presented further, and we could reach in and say, no, this is important to us, we want to take it forward.
Okay.
So I don't think we lose that opportunity.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Then
Correct, yes.
I'll be okay. That's good. I like that.
Okay, so I think we have a unanimous vote then.
No, that makes sense. That's,
With option number 2. Okay,
And what could be done, so, just to strengthen what you said, what could be done, could come up with some sort of a process or protocol that we would review in details all the applications, maybe after after, or then before we're done reviewing, we could provide you with at least a summary or the executive summary of each of the projects, so we just get an idea of what we're looking at.
Yeah.
And if
That
there
would
is
work.
anything that wasn't even coming to the top, so we'd like to sort of, you know, some sort of a summary of all the projects, so we don't need to go through all the pages of application.
With option two, I appreciate the department's objectivity. In a small community like this, the likelihood of us knowing applicants and or doing business with applicants' firms could end up muddying the waters. That's why I like the department's view of the project.
Good point.
Thank you for mentioning that, Mr. Jaworski. We would ask that GOC members would sign, Melissa, help me with the word disclaimer. What is that? A disclaimer? A disclaimer stating that you are objective when you make decisions.
Okay.
If for some reason it's not the case,
Oh,
excuse
yeah.
yourself from a
Yeah.
certain objective program
Okay.
application. So it's just standard with doing this. Perfect, great.
So now going back to Mr. Karkowski's proposal about some more specificity with respect to size of grants, number of grants, and target population for projects. The suggestion was grant applications would be $50,000.
Mhm.
And that they would need to demonstrate a target audience for those programs of greater than 1,000 users, I guess. That would suggest then that there would be more than 3 applications from the same name, perhaps even less.
Approved.
Award.
Yes, awarded, excuse me, awarded. And I think that that makes some sense in terms of trying to get the biggest bang for our buck and minimizing grant application administration efforts. Is the 1,000 users where we want to go, or do we want to suggest even more than that? I don't know.
I'm not sure I'm understanding completely what that means.
Okay, what that would, or might, for what it's worth and for your discussion is that I don't want to have an application from every classroom in every school district in the AMA. Okay, so you could end up, without setting guidelines like that, you could have the 3rd grade at Bradshaw Mountain Elementary School. And you could have 200 applications along those lines. Go ahead and have a conservation program for that elementary school as opposed to having Prescott Unified School District going ahead and putting in an application for $50,000 for classroom support of conservation. And that would clearly
Okay,
get
I got you.
over 1,000
Representative
targets. Okay, rather, and I think you'd end up having a much bigger bang for the buck as opposed to every little application that could end up coming across the table. And that's what.
Okay, I got you. I
I
understand.
think there's economies of scale by having
that makes sense.
bigger numbers.
Okay.
And I would certainly like to lobby to continue working on the definition of conservation. I would love to see it end up with watershed restoration and rainwater capture, but I suspect those would fall under augmentation, unfortunately. But if you were able to have conservation in the Prescott AMA defined to have rainwater harvesting as well as restoration, bravo to you. Good luck with that.
Interesting. I gone both ways depending on who you ask. We'll definitely, we actually have it proposed as an option, but again, we have to talk to our legal staff and director to make sure.
Well, and the reason for that would be this AMA has the record for the lowest water use per capita in the state of Arizona. The lowest water use per capita. We have done a remarkably fine job with water conservation. We can always do better, don't get me wrong. And 150,000 would go towards that. We have other issues that are very high, which is conservation through capture, whether it's rainwater or capture from an enhanced watershed. And those are really high priorities. I mean, there's only so many times you can get people to quit running the water when they're brushing their teeth. We've got some bigger pictures that I think really need addressed, but that, whatever you guys come up with the definition, because we do have another option, and that is our collection of our annual fee. We could solely dedicate that for some of these other
Some
projects.
other purpose.
Thank you for that. This is really good information that we can bring forward. So I appreciate it.
Big picture.
I also wanted to ask a question more direction specific. Talk about 1,000 perhaps people, but there may be projects that are more directed at amount of water saved. So do you also want to consider something regarding to the acre that is concerned?
Okay, so 1,000 citizens or targeted entities, or you could end up having that other standard. We will defer to your wisdom to come back with something.
And potentially, we could not necessarily specify now, but that would be a higher. We do have currently, let me say correct me if I'm wrong, but we did add in the draft funding opportunity that a higher priority would be given for proven, for larger amount of water concern or outreach opportunity or ability. So it definitely would be ranking higher, receive more higher scoring, if you might. So we could potentially specify numbers, or just give it a higher priority. So either way, I think would still elevate those that reach more people and have more options.
Your anticipation that the notice of funding opportunity document is drafted and put out on the street before our next GUAC meeting? Or will we have an opportunity as GUAC to review and offer input to that notice of funding opportunity?
Depending on when our next meeting will be, we hope to have it complete by the fall beginning of winter. What we hope to do is after we have it finalized and reviewed within AWR, we could send it to GUAC members specifically, not necessarily the meeting. And then you can send us your individual comments, obviously because of open meeting laws, we can have it via emails. But you can provide input to us independently and we can incorporate it into the notice of funding opportunity.
What would be the desire of this body? To meet and discuss, or to do independent evaluation and offer comment back to the agency? Document. I think if we're talking about some specifics to that funding document for the Prescott AMA, about either the size of the grant application or the amount of acre feet saved or number of targets identified, maybe we want to talk about that.
I would. Yeah.
Rather than, because again, remember the open meeting law concern is that if we do it that way, we can only offer our individual observations back to the agency, not to one another.
Correct.
So,
It's called a special meeting.
yeah, I would say let's schedule a meeting and give us an opportunity to discuss.
Perfect. There is an option that we could also do it via webinar. Would that be something that we need to do that, or not something we will support, or?
I wouldn't object to it. I prefer probably eyeball to eyeball, but if that's a challenge for whatever reason, I wouldn't object to the other.
Thanks for that.
I call it eyeball.
Do you need a motion from us other than what you've already heard from us regarding some of these ideas? Or these are already ideas that you've already been working on anyway?
We are working on those. We definitely would like to get your thoughts. If you have a minimum, as we talked about, 50,000, this is really good for us to know. If you have an idea of the target, that would be great. Or when we have another meeting, that's something that you can think of and provide then. We did get your thoughts on option 2, so that's great. Another thing that I would ask either for you to decide this meeting or next meeting is, what is the amount of projects that you would like to review? Taking into account you will have to review the whole proposal, if you so wish, and to make sure that the applicant will come here to present, let's say, each applicant for 15 minutes, providing some time for questions. So depending on how many applications, or the maximum applications you would like to review, would dictate how much time you would need to devote to this process.
Do we need to give you that now?
You don't have to, but at least maybe start thinking about it.
Let's think about it then more for our next meeting. I think what the recommendation that I'm hearing is that as the department works on crafting the notice of funding opportunity for the Prescott AMA, that fund minimums be established, that target audience be in the amount of water and the effectiveness of the program, proposed program, be considered as well. So then from that direction, then you can work those concepts into what that document looks like that you can bring back to us at our next meeting, and we can kind of hammer through it. Okay.
And did I hear, Mr. Chairman, did I hear Mr. Marley go ahead and suggest we patently violate the open meeting law? We should probably ignore that recommendation.
I didn't hear it.
No, I thought I did.
I didn't hear
It happened in this, we're not happening in this mind.
Good. So does that give you the direction that I think?
Yeah,
that you're
that's
looking for?
perfect.
Okay.
Another just thing to, one thing to point out, so we're going to have one notice of for all the AMAs.
Okay.
It's specific for the different AMAs. So for example, for the amount of money, that is, also 150,000 for the other AMA, as well as the minimum and maximum amount for the funds, that will be specifically for Prescott, and then any other details such as decide to have this minimum target audience and or because you're conserved or any other.
So it would be one notice of funding opportunity for all active management areas.
Correct.
And then where there is difference or more specific information for any one AMA, it'll be incorporated into that same document.
Correct.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I just wanted some clarification. Our next meeting, we need to be thinking over for each grant, the number of people affected, the grant fund minimum, amount of water saved, and the number of projects reviewed. Is there any other criteria we need? I think I captured.
You did.
You did a great job. Yeah.
it.
Wow. Mr. Chairman, could we let the department know that if there were any other AMAs that were unable or unwilling to expend their allocation, we would be the default AMA, those surplus funds.
So we'll take all the change. Okay.
You can always ask for it. Right?
Always
Yeah,
that.
that's right.
Okay, does that
Excellent.
provide you with the,
Yes, the direction, that's
Direction.
perfect.
okay, so let's move on then to groundwater withdrawal fee rates and money collected. And I believe that's a historic presentation for the last 5 years.
Excellent. So can we put on the screen, I always have this table in front of me. And this table will break down the Prescott for the last 5 years and for the withdrawal fee rates amount collected for both components of the fee, which is the water management assistance program and the administration and enforcement fee. Also at the bottom of this, of the first table, you also have the total fee collected, in the past 5 years, but as you may see, it's not sounds out to exactly the same because the total also includes, late fees, recovery well fee, and water quality fund that is included in the total. That's what sounds out to the same. So for 2019, as you see there, we still have not collected the annual report, so we don't have the fee collected, so we don't have anything here. But what we asked today is for GOEC members to provide your recommendation for the withdrawal fee for the water management assistance program. It is the statutory framework is that the maximum collected for this component of the fee is $2. As well as your recommendation on the administration and enforcement fee, it's the minimum of 50 cents and the maximum of $1. Currently for the 2019, we have $2, $1 for the water management assistance program, and $1 for the administration and enforcement fee.
Oh, yeah.
So I did have a question on the table with respect to 2019 fees collected. You said that those, you don't have a number there yet, but annual reports were,
Still have not received, so we always collect the annual report the year after.
okay.
So in 2020, we'll collect for 2019. because
For
that's
water withdrawal and,
correct.
Okay.
So all the water use within the
Gotcha.
AMA is reported in 2020 for 2019.
yes, very good.
So, to clarify, so we're today going to discuss withdrawal fee for 2020, which will be collected in 2021.
Our agenda item number 4.
Correct, this is what you were discussing. The withdrawal fee.
Mr. Chairman, it would be my intention, when we get to item number 4, that I would recommend that we keep the fee remaining at the same level. And then that we go ahead and have a discussion about targeting the expenditure of those funds be limited to a couple of things, rather than going out with a very broad solicitation for grants, that we keep it to a couple of things that are really important for this AMA, and that is continued development of new water resource, i.e. Rainwater harvesting and restoration of watershed, and any other program that would increase water resource. So with that, I'll shut up.
Okay. Let's continue on with agenda item number 3 then. So the summary is what we have here presented on the overhead. With respect to 3C,
So let's look at the activities and projects. So our current balance is about $120,000 in the fund, the water management system program fund. There are a few $1,000 still committed to the 2 ongoing projects that are listed in the bottom. So it's about 6,400. So the remaining balance, the available balance that we have currently is $114,000 or so.
okay.
And I mentioned in the bottom, we have the 2 projects that are ongoing. So we have the Prescott for sure, as well as the rainwater harvesting in Richard.
Mr. Chairman, next question. Real quick, the remaining balance is, I don't know the right term. Is there any way that that money can be removed from our account?
It's
Can
called
it be taken? I know, being taken away. Swept, yeah, swept.
I'll just say that, see that happening, and everything, it's happened, but we don't see that happening.
The legislature would have to do that.
Yes, it will have to come from legislators. I don't, yeah.
Because I like the fact that we have a balance. It's nice to have a balance in case something happens that we're unforeseen, but if somebody comes along and takes it.
We're all our friends.
Yeah.
So I think part of the observation there is that during difficult economic times, the legislature has history of doing that. I don't think we're in
That's
that
not
period right now.
I
So
agree.
I would think these funds would be relatively safe, given our current economic environment. Okay, so then 3C then was to provide information and framework. You're not
Correct.
asking us for anything.
Correct. So this is, I can take any questions on these, or you can move on to number 4, and I can take questions as we discuss.
I think that's what I'll do, if y'all are okay.
Right.
So we'll move to withdrawal fee discussion on item number 4.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion that we keep it, at the present withdrawal fee of $2.
$1?
$1, $1.
You said $1, $1, $2 total. One and
One, two.
Uh,
I thought we were just talking about the first.
Do we have a second for that?
I would second that.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, you have a unanimous recommendation for retaining the withdrawal fee at its current rate. So, there's nothing more on that item. We'll move to item number 5, call to the council. This gives an opportunity for members to share with me. Does anybody have any more to share? I would like for you to convey to Director Bishotsky our appreciation for his attendance and preparation and presentation at our last meeting.
I'd love to do that.
We were very grateful that he was here. His comments were very well received. So,
He was happy to be able to attend.
yeah, no, we're very grateful.
It was good to have him.
And in that vein, if there are other staff members of the department that you would like to bring and introduce to us, we're certainly happy to meet you folks as well. So, okay,
We'll
good.
do that. Thank you so much.
Item number 6 is an opportunity for call to public. Are there any comments from among the public? Yes, seeing a raised hand or two.
More.
Go first. As chair of NAMWA Coalition, I urge you to consider Mr. Kirkowski's comment about broadening the meaning of conservation. We are limiting opportunities that we are currently attempting to leverage. And I just can't tell you how important that comment is.
I withdraw that comment. Florida Lee's agreeing with me.
Yeah.
Must be something wrong. Thank you very much.
Well,
That will-
we've gotten to the point where brain barrels on conservation. In too many minds, we must not allow that to happen.
I think that will come up a little bit later in our discussions. Thank you.
Thanks.
This is going back to your item about the funding the grants. And I don't know if I missed it or maybe I did. Is there opportunity for, who's interested in that, to do matching funds? Or a matching fund component, so if you're seeking, I don't know, 50,000, for a project, and the group is there, whether they're individual, entity or a collection of entities, off of a match. Or could it be discussed further potentially?
So that's a great comment. We do have, currently in the draft specify that not necessarily matching fund, but additional fund also would be, prioritized, so it would maybe receive more scoring. However, if that's something that you would like to put forward, that's something that definitely be, looked at. And maybe that's to Mr. Marley's next.
This, yes.
Next to the next one.
I think opportunity for matching funds or additional funding sources tied to a grant proposal should be considered. So, yeah, thank you very much for, I agree with that. Leslie Grazer. And Leslie is the water resource manager for the city of Prescott. Any other items from the public? Let's talk for a moment about future agenda items and next meeting date. Clearly, agenda items will include the notice of funding and where the department is on that, give us an opportunity to review it. I might suggest, consistent to the comment from Mr. Tartakowski, and from the member of the public as well, that we have continued discussion regarding future grant funding from the collection and groundwater withdrawal fees of the AMA. I don't know exactly what that will look like at this point. Let's put that on the agenda. Discussion. Are there other items that the department would suggest on the next agenda?
No, I think we could definitely have a review and discussion on the notice of funding opportunities, and maybe generating some thoughts as to what you think what projects
We'd like to see.
valuable.
And Mr. Chairman, if we could, I would be interested in getting a report from staff on the progress on the fourth management plan with the recalcitrant AMAs that are so far behind us. And I'm quite seriously, I'd like to see what their focus is with those AMAs. Certainly it's different than our own.
Definitely, we can put that on the agenda. And of course, on the fixed management plan process, after
And
the
that as well.
problem, then we may have some meetings, more information.
I'm assuming that you're not going to be starting the fifth management plan for AMAs that have not adopted their fourth.
Correct. And what we're going to do is first we're going to finish with drafting and adopting all of the fourth management plans before we get to drafting the fifth management
Yes,
plan.
that, okay.
However, the fifth management plan development process will be a lengthy and detailed process. So again, we're looking at about 2 years for this whole process, and having continual meeting of the management work groups, as the subcommittee, the staff work groups, that will discuss with the three sectors and the stakeholder technical group. If we have any new updates or new meetings that came between now and our next meeting, we'll provide updates as to what came out of these meetings.
Very good, thank you.
So with regard to the next meeting date, I think that's probably a little bit in flux right now. We would need probably your input from us about when you think you'll be ready for that. I'm assuming it won't probably be October, but likely November.
Possibly, maybe even more towards late November.
Okay.
As soon as we have, so as we were having discussions today, what is that first we want to finalize the draft of the notice of funding opportunity. When we have that finalized, again, at least in the draft form, we can send it to GOC members, at least give you some time to review before we have our meeting.
Okay.
So that
We would independently review it and then we
we'll
can come
come
again.
and discuss,
Okay.
at least give you some opportunity to read through the details and think about some things.
So we will rely on then the department to offer some suggestions about meeting dates, likely in November or later in November.
Correct, later November, possibly early December, hopefully we're not gonna get that late, but just put it out there as a possibility. Does anyone have any time that they're not here on vacation or any time that I'm gonna be here for longer than a couple of days?
Thanksgiving's the last week in November this year, so.
Correct, so we will try, unless I'm gonna be here besides Thanksgiving Day, if you would like to have that as an option, we could potentially have that as an option for days if you would like to explore that week. We could do that too, so whatever.
I think probably excluding the last week of November next. So either get it in before then or even after. Very good. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you bringing the staff with you. That was good. I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So,
I heard a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned at 11:25. Thank you very much.
excellent.